Okay. So, so now it's live and you can watch later. Read translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Neither he who thinks the living entity is the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. Purport. When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that living entity within the body is not killed. The spiritual soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon, as will be evident from subsequent verses. Nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed, or is supposed to be killed, is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is Ma himshayat sarva bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone, nor does and nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the laws of the state as well as by the laws of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically. Right? So Prabhupada is very clearly saying that some people may read this verse and think, if the soul is not killed when body is killed, then why not I can start killing? What wrong in animal killing? What wrong in meat eating and animal killing? But what is needed, like in war also, people are being killed. They kill each other in the war, right? But that is authorized by the state as per the rules. So that killing is allowed, right? Like judge also awards punishment to a criminal. That is legal. That is authorized killing. But somebody does whimsically is not allowed, right? So similar way, this is here Prabhupada explaining us, right? That we should never commit violence to anyone, what is human, animal, or anything plant, unless it is for higher purpose and authorized by Vedic injunctions or acharyas, right? So we don't do that. All right, so we'll go next verse, text 20. Who wants to read?
Prabhuji, I'll read.
Yes.
Na jayate mriyate. Prabhuji, which tone we should use for this one? Like 4 verse.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भवति वा न भूया. You just go like
Na,
that.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूया अजो नित्या शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Purport. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so called old man, therefore, feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the six changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad, we also find a similar passage which reads, Na jayate mriyate va vipaschin, nayam kutaschin na bhabhova kaschit, ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyante hanyamane sharire. The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here in this verse there is one special word, vipaschit, which means learned or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is there for daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme Consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, Anu Atma, and the super soul, Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad in this way. Anor Anyan Mahato Mahiyan Atmasya Jantor Nihito Guhayam Tam Akratu Pashyati Vitasoko Dhatu Prasadhan Mahimanam Atmana. Both the super soul, Paramatma, and the atomic soul, Jivatma, are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being, and only one who has become free from all material desires as well lamentations can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountain head of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters. And Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mantaji, thank you for reading. It's a wonderful verse. Na jayate mrete va kadachin, nayam bhutva bhavati va na bhuyo, ajo nityo shashvato yam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. This is text number 20, slok sankhya 20 in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. Nikita Mataji and Kaustubh Prabhu joined recently, so that's why I'm telling this. Text 20, Prabhu, Mataji, Bhagavad Gita, text 20. So that's what we are reading. So, for the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He does not come into being. Has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when body is slain. So very powerful message here Krishna is giving us. And Prabhupada is explaining so nicely, wonderfully, with so many examples like baby growing in the mother's body. and then gradually born, and then, produces some effect, and then gets old and dwindles and then dies. But the soul doesn't go through these changes. And then Prabhupada gives example of clouds covering the sky. But because there is a cloud, you don't see the sun, but you still see the light, effect of light. Like right now in St. Louis, there is no sun you can see, but you can see the cloud. And but you see the light. That's why presence of soul in the body is the consciousness. That's the proof that there is a soul in the body. But somebody can say, hey, if qualitatively soul is same as the super soul or Krishna, then why don't soul remember everything? So the Prabhupada is giving example of quantity because we are so tiny, small, atomic, and Krishna is fully spiritual. We often tend to forget and covered by this illusory energy of Krishna. And that's why we don't remember anything. And that's why we need to read these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, so that we are reminded daily about our position. And if we remind ourselves daily, then we more and more become conscious of our real position as a spiritual soul than the body. So far in our life, we have been daily reminding ourselves that we are this body. Hey, this is my body, this is my hand, this is my house, this is my family, this is my everything is mine. And there are two things only in life. One is this is my body, and second is everything connected with this body, whether it's family, education, position, power, money, property, everything is connected with this body. It belongs to me. So I and mine, only two things. That's what we have been taught, unfortunately. So when we learn about this spiritual knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, then it seems very incompatible because how to unlearn that thing and relearn new thing. So that's the challenge. Anyone who learns this faster grows faster in spiritual life. So it doesn't mean that when you know that I'm a spiritual soul, then you neglect your body, you neglect your family, you neglect everything. No. When you know that you're a spiritual soul and everybody around you is spiritual soul, then you appreciate them because then you connect back to Krishna that hey, they are part and parcel of Krishna, even if they are against Krishna, even if they are against bhakti, even if they are not inclined, but you appreciate their spiritual nature. And then even if they are not favorable to you, they like you in a sense that they know you as a nice person, nice individual, because you appreciate, you never criticize them, you forgive, you don't keep envy, jealousy, pride, all that is gone because then you know, hey, now you start searching what is my relationship with Krishna? What kind of relationship I have with Krishna? I know I have some relationship, but I forgot what was that relationship. And now you try to discover that relationship with Krishna. Why, you go further in bhakti, get initiated, your spiritual master gives you instruction, you serve your spiritual master, and why you serve Krishna by that. And then in this life, you realize what is my position and relation with Krishna, right? That's the journey to discover that relationship. What is that relationship? Is it like a lover, or it is like a brother, or it is like a friend, it is like a servant? What kind of servant, right? Do I'm supposed to be cooking for Krishna, or cleaning for Krishna, singing for Krishna, dancing for Krishna, playing for Krishna? What is my relationship? And that is a bhakti. to discover that relationship. And then this body becomes just a tool, because then you think this body is a tool, so I have to maintain it better. And these family members are also are my alliance, because what if we can do together? It'd be so nice, right? But even if we are not, then you see that, hey, even if I know I am a soul, and next person to me, very close to me, doesn't know he or she is a soul, you try to give them this knowledge that, hey, here is the knowledge. You like it, take it, no problem, even if you don't, because even if you don't take it, I don't hate you, I don't dislike you. I still like you as a soul, as a part of Krishna. So that's very important part of bhakti. Anyone wants to share anything, any question here before we go next verse?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes.
So for normal, like our, is it good to forget things or not? Is it?
Okay, so here is the thing. Suppose if we went through some bad experience with someone, or somebody treated us bad, cheated us, misbehaved, or did grave things with us. Two things one should do. You should take a lesson, first thing. Okay. You try to see that where was my fault. What did I over trust, or over, relied on someone and they misuse that. So you learn a lesson. you know and learning lesson means you do remember those, situations you went through somehow, but you don't, you you never forget, but you forgive. So basically you disconnect that person from that event or situation which happened with me, right? I will disconnect that person, so I'm forgiving the person, and thereby which I am disconnecting myself from that person by forgiving. But I never forget my lesson
Mm,
from that incident.
mm,
So, which means that I will never go into that situation again. I don't want to get it. But I
mm,
forgive, because there are two things I'm doing when I'm forgiving. One, I'm not giving that situation or event or person space in my brain. I'm just exiting. Second, I am getting at peace. I'm not
mm,
forgiving because I am giving some kind of mercy to next person by forgiving. I am by forgiving, I am helping myself to get
mm,
out of that and
mm,
move on, right? And how you forgive, you forgive like this, that maybe this person or situation or context came in my life because it was my karma. Maybe in past life I had treated that person or situation or something.
mm,
In my past life I did something wrong to that person or situation, and they are now came in this life
mm,
and taking that back, that revenge, whatever did, they happened, they did. So because of that, did it. Now I learned my lesson, and I forgive you. Forget about it. But next time when such situation arise, you remember that lesson. And
mm,
hey, yes, I should not, get into this again. But I don't blame anyone, because it was my karma. It got cleared. I got purification. I got lesson. Let's
mm,
move on. So that's how we go beyond those experiences.
mm,
Because sometimes it's really hard to know who is right, who is wrong, right? Everybody feels that I'm right. That person did wrong to me. This person did wrong to me. I was very nice. I was very, pious. I didn't do anything wrong. I was very faithful. Very, but still things happens to the good people, like bad things happen to good people. Why? Because they rationalize saying, hey, it's my karma, now let's move on. I don't want to get into this business and again. And but however, if somebody is not spiritually inclined, they will have that grudge and that negativity in their heart, and that will kill internally, and then somehow you will not trust anyone else around or situation around you, because even if the genuine people are there, you will, oh no, this person, I had this bad experience, and I think everybody's like that. No, Krishna doesn't put anyone in the same situation 10 times.
Hmm.
He will put one time, two times, but if you learn your lesson next time, he will not put.
Hmm.
Karma cannot happen 100 times. Karma happens once, twice. If same thing happening 10 times, then it's not karma. You have to
Hmm.
just go out of it. And that's it,
Hmm.
right? Because
Yeah.
so I hope that helps.
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so should we go next, Sloka?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Anyone wants to read Kaustubh Prabhu or anyone?
Hare Krishna. Veda
Hare Krishna.
vinashinam nityam ya ya enam ya enam jam vyayam. Katham sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam. Should I read the translation? O
Yes.
Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Purport. Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he ordered the violence to another person according to the course of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book of mankind, it supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate, man or rather the soul cannot be killed. So, for the administration of justice, so called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is full knowledge. So there is no possibility of sinful reaction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, yes, here Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that since everyone is soul, you can't kill the body. And if you know that everyone is soul and not the body, then how can you claim that you are killing anyone or causing anyone to be killed by this, war, ghastly war supposed to happen? And Prabhupada is giving example of judge. So you can't blame the judge for someone being hanged because judge is just executing the laws in the state. What is the law defined? So the person who is executing the law cannot be claimed as a murderer. Similarly, Arjuna is just executing the order of supreme authority, Krishna, for supreme justice. So he can't be called right as a killer. Similarly, likewise, Prabhupada giving example of a doctor, surgeon. If surgeon is doing surgery, right, and during surgery, if the patient die, can you blame doctor for the killing? You don't. You don't sign a consent form saying that, hey, if anything happens, surgery, doctor is not at fault, right? Because they know that there is a risk of someone dying during surgery. But doctor's intention was to cure the patient while doing surgery, right? But if multiple people are dying in the same doctor's hand, then you are kind of being careful. Right? That this doctor is not doing right, because how can every time you kill every, right? You're supposed to be curing. That's a major. Sometimes somebody died, it's okay, but likewise, if you're doing your duty with intention, with a higher purpose of like you're curing, and in case of Arjuna, fighting for supreme justice, dharma, because there was no alternative beyond fighting. Every options was explored and everything was failure. And then at the end, that's a final decision that hey, we have to fight and finish these adharmic people. Otherwise, what is the other way? You can't live with them, you can't have nice relationship, they won't agree to anything, there is no consensus. And then innocent people will suffer. Somebody can say, why don't live together? Let's have a cooperation and let's have nice, adjustment. Devotees should be, Arjuna was devotee, so he should be tolerant and he should be cooperative. He should be tolerating even Kauravas did wrong. I think they did it. They spent 15 years tolerating. Their wife was stripped naked. They have 13 years in the forest. Then they were asked to live in the forest. They were attempted to killed by poison, killed by burning, killed by attack. They tolerated. Even at this point, Arjuna was ready to tolerate. He was ready to give up the fight. But then Krishna cannot allow that, because if Kshatriyas don't fight, then innocent people in the kingdom will suffer. Because of one person decision, Arjuna not fighting, millions of people will suffer, right? So why don't, let's do something for good and let's get this clear, right? So here that's what is happening, and Krishna is instructing Arjuna about this Sankhya philosophy of soul and body. We will go next verse to read. Anybody has any question before we go there?
Prabhuji, the second chapter of Gita is only called as the Sankhya philosophy, or do we have a separate Sankhya philosophy?
Major is this one, the chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita, but in Bhagavatam, in Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 25, this is the Krishna giving Sankhya philosophy for us. But before Krishna, Kapila Deva, Krishna came in the form of Kapila Deva, Lord Kapila, and he has given very elaborate description to her mother, Devahuti. So that is like real detail. And here Krishna in few verses, like 15, 20 verses, explaining this philosophy of soul and body for us. Okay. So if you see, this Bhagavad Gita is like a juice extract of all that. But if you want to read more, then Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 25, Lord Kapila's instruction to Mother Devahuti, and I'm reading right nowadays. I'm on that like Bhagavatam section when I'm reading Kapila Deva's instructions. And I'm also looking forward to learn more from there. So, yeah.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Nihal Mataji, and see.
Okay, Prabhuji, how are you?
Hare Bol. Nagarani Mataji, Hare Krishna. Happy to see
No,
you.
Prabhuji.
I was thinking about you before we started the class, and like Mataji didn't join.
Yeah,
Okay,
today I'm
maybe.
not well, Prabhuji. Head is aching like anything.
It's weather or something
Yeah,
else?
because of
Stress.
weather only. Since 10 days, I'm not feeling well.
You have a throat problem or just cold? Yeah.
Not only throat problem, fever-like symptoms and body aches. Everything is there, and I'm feeling very, very tired.
Yeah. You have kids grown up?
Yes, yes.
What age they are?
One is 15, other one is 11.
Oh, both are boys, right?
Girls.
Girls. Okay. So you can ask your 15-year one to give you a massage. Okay. No, it's at least head massage and then your leg palm. Like
Yeah,
so, if you take this mustard oil
okay,
and then
okay,
methi and ajwain,
okay,
and you make it heat it little bit, heat it,
okay.
and then you do the massage to your, like, especially the leg palm, like below the
Yeah, yeah,
leg,
understand.
yeah, palm, and then your back
Okay,
and
okay,
your head. It will
okay,
help you. Like, it helps. Like methi, ajwain, and mustard oil,
okay,
and then you just that arc comes into that, and you do the massage 2 days, like 1 day, 2 days, and will be gone. And
okay.
you can make this kadha. What you do is you have water, and then you have ginger, long, and cinnamon stick, and
Yeah,
then
every day I'm drinking that water only, Prabhuji.
yeah. So you add turmeric and jaggery and everything,
Okay,
and and boil it for some time, and then drink like
okay,
twice, thrice. Definitely add this one. What do you call? Mm, ajwain. Ajwain is analgesic. It takes your fever, your body pain, all those. Ajwain is must. Like, and it will give
okay,
you warmness. It's warm, and
okay, okay,
so
Prabhuji.
I can send you recipe. It's nice. I do that without medicine. You get like no fever medicine, no headache medicine, nothing.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
but
Thank
happy.
you, Prabhuji.
Uh, okay, so who wants to read next? Text 22. Any volunteer for that? Text 22, chapter 2.
I believe no one is reading, I'll read, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Please.
वाशांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णति नरो अपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान् यन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Purport. Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in a previous verse. 2.13. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the super soul. The super soul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad as well as Shvetasvatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the super soul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender into Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.2 and Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.7 confirms this. Samane vrikshi purusho nimagno nishaya shochati muhyamana justam yada pashyati yanyam isham asya mahimanam itivita shoka. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or other he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mantra. Yes. So this verse, Vangsam Sijihani Yatha Vihaya Namani Grihani Naro Parani Tatha Sarirani Vihaya Jihnanya Ayani Shanyati Navani Te. So very important lesson for us, right? Prabhupada is giving example of birds, two birds on the same tree, and how witnessing bird is, one bird is witnessing, other bird is enjoying the fruit of the tree. And the bird enjoying the fruits of the tree doesn't know what is the relationship the other bird sitting next to it has it. But as soon as they turn face and talk to each other, know their relationship, at least realize the presence. When most of the time this small bird doesn't knows that there is other bird on the tree. And sometimes they become so engrossed that this small bird thinks that this tree is everything. There is nothing else beside this tree, which is body, right? They don't even know there is a soul. They think that this is just body. So, but Chris Prabhupada is saying, even scientists who say they can't explain what is the source of energy in the heart, they know that there is a death, and at the death, this consciousness, energy, whatever stops working, and they also know that when a new body is born, there is a beginning, there is a chemical reaction. They explain, but then who gives energy in that chemical reaction? Who designs that chemical reaction so that the baby grows from a small atomic level to big giant body like us, right? How this is all happening? They can't explain to this, but then they say in some time in future we will explain. Who knows when, right? So but here, question for us: what do you do when you suppose if you want to have a new house? What do you do? Hey, what is the primary thing you have to think of? Suppose if you're living in a house and you want to move into a new house, then what is the first thought you should have in your brain or mind? Think about it for a moment. You have the money, you have a new house, you have everything. Now, what is the one thought you should have to be able to get into new house?
Prabhuji, leave the old house and go to the new house?
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So first thought we should have is to we have to leave this old house. If I'm not able to think that I have to leave this old house, even if I live in new house, I will have the same mentality. I will not like new house because I want to live in the old house, right? You'll see some old people like they have been living in the village or old house from their whole life, and if you take them into a new house, supposing their kids made a new house, new building, and you take them, they won't like it because they are so much attached to the old house, right? They won't like that new house because they say, no, I like that old one because they're not able to disconnect. There are so many other aspects of it, but I'm just telling one, concept why they don't like. There's so many social and so many things like. But in general, if you want to like something new, then you have to give up the old. Both things cannot go together, right? This is everyone agrees, right? This concept that if you want something new, then we have to
Yes.
start thinking to give up the old one.
Yes.
Thank you. So then what's wrong in giving old one? There is nothing wrong, right? Because you're going to get a new one. But then you have to first believe. Suppose, let's take this example. Very interesting one. Suppose if Nehal Mataji has a car, like suppose she has Toyota Corolla car, right? She has been driving from 10 years. And Pavitra Mataji goes to her, meet Nehal Mataji with a Ferrari with her, she drives and goes Nehal Mataji and says, Nehal Mataji, I have a Ferrari for you. Can you give me your old car? And she'll be like, what you're talking? Like, yes, of course, I can give my old car and I'm getting a new Ferrari. Who cares? Because why she's doing that? And suppose if same Pavitra Mataji goes to Nehal Mataji and says, Nehal Mataji, can you give me your Toyota Corolla? I will give you a Ferrari later. Then she will not do. And who cares? I don't know whether you'll give me. I don't want to lose my old car. I don't know whether you will give me new or not. Right?
Mm.
Right? Because you don't see the new car in front of you, so it's hard to give up the old car because you don't want to lose your old car because you don't know whether the new car you will get or not. Right? Likewise, suppose if Kaustubha Prabhu is sitting there and Krishna walks into his apartment, knock, knock. Kaustubha Prabhu, here I am, Krishna. And he said, okay, welcome. So why did you come here? what is the reason you are here? And Krishna says, I am here to take you back. Let's go. You are done. I want to take you from here. And now, if Kaustubha Prabhu is realized and that's what he wanted, then he will go happily. Otherwise, okay, Krishna, can you give me 20 minutes? I need to finish some things, I need to change my nominees. I want to transfer this house to someone who I care for. I need to, finish some responsibilities before I go with you because I have some responsibilities here. And most of us will not go because we don't know where we may think maybe this is some mad person pretending like Krishna and want to cheat me. Because we don't believe that Krishna can come to us and say, hey, let's go. Because that conviction is not there. That conviction is missing. That faith is missing. Right? Most of the time Krishna will not do that. But even if Krishna is supposed to come and just say, Purushottam, let's go, I will say, who knows this person? I don't know this person is Krishna or not. Even if he is dressed like Shyamachandar, is blue is his skin, peacock feather, with all the feature of Krishna, Kaustuba gem, all the kunda, everything what is described in scriptures, in Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita. He's effulgent, he's like a sun, he's like every feature he has, but still I will think, oh, maybe this is some kind of mystic person coming to cheat me here. I don't trust you. Why? Because I have no experience. First and second, I don't have a faith and conviction to believe what next person is saying. And third, I can do that, but maybe I'm not ready to believe that Krishna will protect me, because I'm thinking, what if this person cheats me? But what if I start thinking, whatsoever, if he has all the features, he looks like Krishna, let me go for it. If Krishna is there always in control, why should I worry? He will take care of me, because I'm trusting his scriptures, I'm trusting his words, I'm trusting his devotees. And if Krishna is supposed to cheat me, he will cheat me by any ways. People getting cheated, right? But to get to this conviction that give up this body and you'll get a new body is not easy, like the example of car, unless you have a new body in front of you. Suppose if Sachidananda body is next to me standing, and Krishna comes and says, Purushottam, give up this old body, I'm giving you this Sachidananda body right now. You get a body which is not dying, not everlasting, eternal, spiritual. I'll do it, because I see, hey, this is a new body, let me move. I don't care. But in this world, that situation is not there. So we have to have a leap of faith on spiritual scriptures, our guru, our acharyas, and we have to have that conviction and faith and affirmation that whatever is said in the scriptures are correct and it has a value. So therefore, why should I worry about my old things, and which is anyways gonna die at the time? So why don't you utilize this tool and body in the service of Krishna? And then somebody say, why should I do that? Why should I engage this body in service of Krishna? Why don't Krishna just take me out of this body and just put into new body, right? Which is eternal and spiritual. Why I have to do so much, get old, serve, become sannyasi, renounce, and so much trouble. But then how does your soul get training to serve, right? In this body, we are training our soul, our consciousness, our nature to serve Krishna, basically to revive that relationship, which I was talking in the beginning. We all have relationship with Krishna, but we don't remember what kind of relationship. And we are trying to revive that relationship, right? Like, for example, suppose if a kid is born in your family, new kid is born. You take that kid to America. Just next day, the kid is born, you take that kid to America and you give it to your family, new family. Kid will grow into new family. After 20 years, the kid will not know who was his or her original father and mother. Because next day the kid was born, transferred to a new family, doesn't remember who is father and mother, right? But there was a relationship because that mother and father gave birth to that baby. So there is an eternal relationship that is not going to go away. But this kid, because the kid moved to a new parents, father and mother, forget about that relationship. The relation is there, but the kid doesn't know. Now, after 20 years, if somebody comes and says, hey kid, I know who is your original father and mother, because I was there when you were born. And I know that how you were moved to a new family. And because of these documents, you see, this is your birth certificates. You were born in India, in a hospital. This doctor gave you delivery, like give you birth. This was the time and place and everything. This certificate. Then that kid start believing, oh, yes, Now I know why these parents were not loving me so much, because I was not their kid. I belongs to someone else, right? And now the kid will start exploring and checking, what is my relationship, how it is, what kind of relation I had, how I was born. Likewise, we are all are born children of Krishna, but we move to material world, so we forget the relationship. Now we have a new parents right now in our birth this life. New parents, they mean, we are growing, we are living. But then our spiritual master comes and says, "Hey Purushottam, hey kid, your original father is Krishna. So why don't you try to understand that relationship, and of course maintain this relationship, but don't forget that relationship which is original, primordial, right? This relationship of 20 years of that kid is important because they maintained and grow the children 20 years, though they are parents in second parents. But the original relation is with the first parents who gave birth to the kid, right? So likewise, that we have to, what do you prove that the was the original parents? Birth certificates. In our case, the original proof is our scriptures. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, "Hey, Jiva, I am your seed-giving father. I gave you birth. You were with me, but you forget me. You came back here. Now it's time to go back to me." This is the proof. Scriptures are the proof. Our teachers are the messengers, right? Our spiritual masters are the messengers giving us this information so that we can realize. So basically, the relation is there. You don't have to create a new relationship with Krishna. The relation is there, but you have to just revive that, to realize that, to acknowledge that relationship, right? To admit that yes, I have my original father and mother, and from millions of birth I have been roaming so many type of bodies, so many countries, planets, who knows where, millions. But now in this lifetime, I have got this message from my messenger, like in this case, Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita, and our guru and teachers and devotees. So why not let's understand that relationship? I don't want to give up this opportunity which I got from millions of time, lifetime after that. So I don't want to miss this now. I want to have my relationship with my parents right now who gave me biological parents. But my spiritual parents, the original parents, are in Goloka, in Krishna's abode. This is not my planet. And I have to just leave this old body, old house, old relationship. At the end, anyways, naturally they will be taken away because parents will die, husband, wife die, kids leave. So why to be so much attached, right? I hope that makes sense. This example of a kid. We are in the same situation.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Just think of, take a moment and just think about these situations, and it will have huge impact on our consciousness. Thinking about, unless we start thinking, these all reading will be useless, because unless it goes inside our consciousness, inside and deep in our heart, it will not be effective. When situation will come, we will forget, because Maya is very strong. The illusory energy is very strong, very strong, very strong, very powerful, because it comes from Krishna. So it's equally powerful. But when you're spiritual, then Maya becomes, okay, big boss is here, I have to just give up. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So last verse, and then we'll stop here.
I'll read,
Or maybe,
Prabhuji.
yes, Mantaji.
Nayanam chindandi sastrani, nayanam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na soshayati marutaha. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. All kinds of weapons, swords, flame weapons, rain weapons, tornado weapons, etc., are unable to kill the spiritual soul. It appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc., in addition to the modern weapons of fire. Even the nuclear weapons of modern age are classified as fire weapons, but formerly they were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Fire weapons were con- counteracted by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor do modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. In any case, the soul can never be cut into pieces or otherwise annihilated by any kind of weapon. The Mayavadi cannot explain how the individual soul came into existence simply by ignorance and consequently became covered by the illusory energy. Now, was it ever possible to cut the individual souls from the original supreme soul? Rather, the individual souls are eternally separated parts of the supreme soul because they are atomic individual souls eternally Sanatana. They are prone to be covered by the illusory energy, and thus they become separated from the association of Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of a fire. Although the one in quality with the fire are prone to extinguished when out of the fire. In the Varaha Purana, the living entities are described as separated parts and parcels of the Supreme. They are eternally so, according to the Bhagavad Gita also. So, even after being liberated from the illusion, the living entity remains a separate identity, as is evident from the teaching of the Lord to Arjuna. Arjuna became liberated by the knowledge received from Krishna, but he never became one with Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mantaji. Yes, so same thing. I think same emphasis is given that Arjuna may have thought that I understand that soul is there and body is there, but what happens when you kill, right? Because body is being dying, burning. What happens to soul? Then Krishna is explaining that these material things cannot touch the soul. And Mayavadis explain that they've explained that after death, your soul becomes merged into Brahman. The merging philosophy is there, but it's not true because everything merged into Brahman and it's Brahman, then how come it become illusioned, right? It means there is a chopping, there is a cutting of the supreme soul, and then a small soul gets generated. And then when this chopping happens, powder is made of dust particles of individual soul, super soul is churned and made a small soul, then there is no existence of super soul because everything is becoming smaller, right? So, which means then that's what their philosophy, Mayavad, that there is no supreme authority. Anybody can become God, right? So that's their philosophy, which is so misleading because they cannot explain that how soul came into existence by ignorance and become covered by illusory energy. Because if there's something is supreme, how can it be covered by illusion? It should not get covered by illusion, right? So then they say, it's so small that gets covered, it becomes bigger, it will not. So you, by spiritual practice, you become very high, become big soul, and then you become uncovered by illusion. And this is how, unexplained. They don't know exactly where it will end. So that's all for today. Anybody has any questions, comments, realization, any other thing? can discuss. Hare Krishna. Well, I'm here for
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. May I please?
yes, Madhu.
Prabhuji, even in Jain philosophy, one is considered to be uh, a supreme soul. Okay, because from my parents' side, I am a Jain and I'm married to a Vaishnav. Okay, so what was their philosophy was that they consider every soul to be same as Paramatma. So that's again completely, I mean, I could not even digest it that time. And now, though, obviously not.
Yeah, because so it kind of decreases the position of Paramatma, because if every soul is Paramatma, then how can it be covered illusions and do nonsense in this world, right?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, uh, if everyone is Paramatma, then how come, I mean, why do we lie? Why don't we have that much power
Hmm.
that Paramatma had? Then why are we greedy? Paramatma was not greedy.
Exactly. Yeah. So then they say that you give up. You give up everything. You live a very austere life. You don't have clothes. Don't eat roots. Don't eat anything. Do ahimsa. But that is still desire will
Again,
remain.
that is
What do you
practically
do
not
with this?
possible.
Practically, and the desires, where are you going to throw the desire? Externally you can renounce, you can have naked clothes, you're not killing even an ant, you can do everything. But what about
Hmm.
the desire? Where you are going to impose that desire, right? Like, where it will, the desires will not go. You can control your brain, you can control your mind, consciousness, ego, everything you can control. But that's a control. The moment it will get a release, it will burn like anything, because it's a control. It's like you're trying to build a dam to stop the water. But how long? When the force of water will increase, the dam becomes weaker. It will flow through, and and then that's how big yogis, jnanis, they do so much hard work and so much tapasya, but at some point they just can't, because there is no center. They just everything in the air, like everybody is god, everybody is supreme, everybody. But in our philosophy, that the real philosophy of Bhagavad Gita centered on Krishna, supreme person. And I was thinking, why these people, different religion, they don't believe in supreme person or supreme individual, and don't consider themselves as a small individual soul. Why? Because they don't want to live a subordinate life. They want to become god some point. So there is aspiration that, hey, if I do this, if I follow Jain, I follow Buddha, I become a god some point. Because there is aspiration to become god in future. But in our philosophy, aspiration is to become servant. Servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And then, oh no, there is no, it's not exciting. It's not like passionate. I want to do something. But servant, we want to become more bigger. DOT we want to become more humble servant. We want to serve everyone. We want to serve plants, animals, humans, chandals, we want to serve demons. Everyone we want to serve. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, we want to give this knowledge to everyone and give this message. So it's very far out. And the reason why you said correctly, we should know. Without knowledge, we will not know, right? What is real. And we live our life, whatever we are going through.
Prabhuji, and then one more thing, the Rishabh Dev that we talk about in Srimad Bhagavat.
Hmm.
The Rishabh Dev, he is the same Rishabh Dev whom Jains consider as their first Tirthankar.
Yeah, but they don't follow him.
Yeah,
They
they
don't.
think, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
blasphemy
they
मुझे
don't.
नहीं करना है. But then,
Yeah, they
yeah,
did. That's
but-
what is happening. You know?
it's a very different concept. I mean, I could not reconcile with it even when I was young.
That's true. No, that's it. That's what's coming back to our today's discussion. Unless we are ready to give up something, we cannot have something. You need to have empty hand and heart to collect, to have more. If my hand is full, where I'm gonna get more? It's already full. So if you give up some, then you get a space for something. And then you can have more. So you voluntarily, and first thing it starts with inquiry, inquisitiveness, logic. And you applied that logic, now you are here. Otherwise, most of people, no, who cares? I'm happy. I'm happy. It's nice. So then, okay, Krishna says, Yat maham prapadyante. As you desire, I'll give you. So, all right, you want to forget me? No problem. I will make you forget. You want to remember me? I'll make you remember me. Right? And it's not just humans or Krishna consciously. Krishna says, everyone, all living entities, whether it is plant, animal, ant or Brahma, all living entities, just not us.
Correct.
Okay, so I think we are. Anybody else have any last question, comment? Thank you, sir. Okay, I think we are close to the end of our session. We'll end here, and from next week we'll continue reading more. We are going to have exam for chapter 1 soon, in a few weeks, once we finish our batch 2 certificates. Yes, thank you, Jenny Mataji. And thank you everyone, Pavitra, Nagrani Mataji, Nihal Mataji, and Kaustubh Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for this wonderful
Thank you, Prabhu.
session. Although I came little late because I was into another session, but then I try never to miss anything. Whatever I can get, I just try to get it.
Yeah, no, that's enthusiasm. No,
I
not
wish
everybody
it
can
does
do it.
not die. I
Yeah.
wish it does not die.
Yeah, no, it's important. So thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful class. Thank you, Prabhuji.
All glories to Prabhupada, goes to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Krishna and Radha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll pray. Vangsha kalptaruvasya cha kripa sindhuvyo cha patitanam bhavebhyo vaishnavabhyo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare,
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Ram Ram,
Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, all of you. See you next week.